but I must say we're much more worried about this than I think perhaps Treasury is, based on your testimony. We had recently two major banks here, Chase and Bank of America, which said very clearly that it is their policy to pursue both tracks simultaneously. That the only factor that is a kind of a caveat to that is that they do not go through with the sale if the modification process is still underway. But that process, the foreclosure process going forward simultaneously, in which the homeowner is receiving notice after notice, phone calls, notice posted on the door. I read a letter actually about one of the homeowners in Oregon, is enormously confusing and enormously stressful to our families. And I wish there was, in fact, a rule in place that said the foreclosure track will not be pursued until the modification is completed, because that would change the dynamic of the modification process enormously for the families involved. Is that a potential point that Treasury can completely suspend the foreclosure track until the modification track is completed?
Again, with respect to the HAMP program, servicers may not start the foreclosure process until loans have been evaluated for HAMP or until a certain measure of outreach efforts to the homeowner has been tried and exhausted.
So
in
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second.
Sure.
Because my time is out. Can I pursue this for just a second? Thank you, Mr. Chair. The situation is that often when folks seek a modification, they're told by the servicer, you need to be delinquent before you start this. You need to be 1 or 2 or 3 months delinquent. At 3 months delinquent or 90 days, then that is kind of the official start of a foreclosure process. So now that the foreclosure process is underway and the modification is being initiated, the banks do not suspend the foreclosure process. And so essentially, I guess what I'm saying is that technically you're making a correct point, is that if no foreclosure process has begun, it cannot begin if they're in the modification. But so often the interaction results in the family being 90 days behind and therefore triggering the foreclosure process before the bank will proceed with the modification, and then the foreclosure process is not suspended. That's the reality on the ground that all of us are seeing with our constituents.